YouTube, it's Karma here with another Dollhouse recap and thoughts. This is season 1, episode 11, called Briar Rose. I'll get to my thoughts about it in a second. Basically, Echo is with this girl at some sort of foster home, and this girl, you can tell, has like antisocial problems, and from the way she was brought up, I'm not going to get too detailed here. Basically, a lot of stuff happened to her and she acts out. So Topher imprinted Echo with this girl, I think her name is Emma, as an adult so that she can relate to the younger version, and out of some sort of like charity thing, Topher really wanted to do it and DeWitt was all for it. Didn't really have too much to do with the episode besides the whole Sleeping Beauty theme. She read Sleeping Beauty to her, and if you want to make it into some sort of symbolism, I guess Paul would be the prince and Echo would be Sleeping Beauty. But basically she helps her, and that's her good deed for the week. Paul leaves his apartment building and tells Melly that he has to go, and she's crying, and you know, she's just heartbroken and blah blah blah, but he leaves because he's gonna go find the dollhouse basically. So she gets picked up by her handler, and then Paul follows the van back to the dollhouse. He says he went in there, he pretty much put his head down, but he only went into the actual building, not the dollhouse, because he goes and talks to his old boss, the FBI, at the FBI place. He finds an environmental specialist who worked for the building that he went to, and it's the only job description that doesn't really fit for a building. This guy basically creates like reusable energy, and you can basically be self-sustaining, and you can basically make a building invisible because you're reusing your own energy. So he goes to the environmental specialist, who's a big pothead, growing pot in his place. Paul takes him, he says, "You're going to take me to the dollhouse because I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to grab Caroline and leave. I don't have time to grab the other ones." Which, I can't even talk about that right now. But they go to the dollhouse. The guy, the environmental specialist, is hilarious. It was funny. Like, they even go downstairs that don't have like a back, and he says that freaks him out because hands can reach up and like pull you out, which is so 5-year-old. I don't know any 5-year-old who doesn't think that. I used to hate going down those stairs too, or I strongly disliked it, because you feel like you're gonna slip. It was kind of some comedic goodness. He stuns Topher with a stun gun, and they basically try to bring down the dollhouse. Paul goes to find Echo while the environmental specialist works on the computers to shut down security and sensors. He goes and he finds Echo/Caroline. He pulls her out of her sleepy pod, and Boyd and him get into a big battle, which is awesome because it's like Echo's 2 men trying to protect her. One is Boyd and one is Paul, and I will get to that in a second, so I really want to talk about that. And they smash over into Victor's pod, and then Dr. Saunders runs in later when they're all gone, and she's like, "What happened?" And Victor's like, "They were fighting, and I feel really bad for Victor because he's like a little baby." So she takes him to her office to help him. And Paul and Boyd are still duking it out, and Paul's like, Boyd gives him a chance. He goes, "You can leave right now." Because, and I can't talk about it right now, I want to leave my thoughts to the end. Basically they fight, and Echo remembers Paul in the episode with the hunter, and how Boyd in the episode with the hunter, she kind of remembers him, and she says, "I trust you," and she ended up pulling Paul's leg from one of those stairs, which is ironic. And basically Paul gets taken into DeWitt, and she's like, "How far did you think you'd really go?" Blah blah blah. Also, side story, a little flash drive came for Dominic, who's in the attic, but only he can open it, and they don't know who it's from. They think it's from, they figure out later that it's probably from Alpha, but I couldn't really hear because my DVR didn't record the episode. I don't know what I was thinking. I had to use it on my computer, and the headset's broken, and I have a really loud fan on my laptop, so I could barely hear what was going on in that scene. It was super annoying, so if somebody can like explain it to me. I don't know exactly what was on that flash drive, but they basically imprinted Victor with Dominic, and he was freaking out, and I kind of liked it because it lets Topher and all of them see this is the reverse side of the dollhouse. You guys don't think what you're doing is wrong. It is, because he's freaking out. Basically that they think Alpha is out there. They found like a homeless person who has like an A, kind of like the whole Zorro thing, you know, like an A scratched into him, which was, or Alpha's signature, which was like his thing, and that was his trademark. So they get Sierra to go down there, and long story short, it was Alpha, but he put the body somewhere different. Meanwhile, back at the dollhouse, it turns out that the environmentalist is Alpha, and I'm not surprised. I am so sorry, but I'm not. I was on Vlog TV a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember who told me, but somebody said, oh, do you know who's playing Alpha? And they said it was the guy who played the robot in iRobot. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll put his name up in annotation. And so when I saw the preview for this week, I saw that the creator of the Dollhouse was the guy who played the robot in iRobot. And I put 2 and 2 together, which if you watch my last video, I didn't want to say anything in case I was wrong, but I didn't want to give anything away. That is Alpha. So I wasn't surprised in the least bit. I knew the entire episode that was Alpha. So it kind of ruined it for me. I wish I got to watch it without knowing it's Alpha. I don't know if you guys figured it out. Alpha slices up Victor's face, which is horrible, and he talks to Dr. Saunders, and then Dr. Saunders calls Echo in there because he imprints Echo, and he's like, because when she's Echo, she sees Alpha, and she goes, I know you, and then Alpha, all these Greek, Alpha, Omega, Alpha imprints Echo, and then she's like, I know you, and they start like making out and kissing, and then they get in an elevator, and the elevator closes, and that's the end of the episode. So yeah, pretty much Paul brought Alpha, but Paul didn't know, and I give him a get out of jail free card because he's trying to bust people out of the Dollhouse. The whole Paul Boyd thing I really liked, because I liked that Echo's protectors were fighting for her. Also, it's funny because Boyd kind of sees this from, like, when we were all watching the pilot, we were all kind of weirded out, like, these people are working for them, like, huh? And that's how Paul kind of sees it, but since we're kind of used to it, which doesn't make it any better, we're 10 episodes into it, it doesn't really freak us out anymore that these people have handlers. And so, from Paul's eyes, this is all new. Boyd knows, and this is when we all started to try to figure out Boyd in the first couple episodes. He's picking the lesser of 2 evils. He can either not do anything and just know about the Dollhouse, or he can watch over Echo and help her and keep her safe. And the fact that she remembered him is really cool. Yeah. Echo and Boyd forever. That was cool. I liked the episode. Paul not wanting to take any of the dolls, like, does he just like Caroline more? I don't know, comprende. I don't understand why he's that way about it. I know he can't take them all, but he even saw, like, Melly / November, and he's like, I have to leave you, I need a Caroline. What do you think was gonna happen? I'm sorry to sound like I'm Mr. Whip, but come on. He would have taken Echo, and she would have been basically a newborn, because he doesn't have the capabilities to imprint her with Caroline, or with whatever Alpha imprinted her with. So he basically would be taking a limp noodle with him. Like, I don't know what he was thinking. But that was a good episode. It was really good. Next week is season finale, I believe. Not sure. Yeah, I'm interested to see how far Alpha gets with Echo. So that's going to be interesting. Sorry this is kind of long, but oh well. These are going to end up being long anyway, so you can deal with me for another week. That's it. So rate, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week for Dollhouse.